Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list of the best power forwards in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 5,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. About 750 subscribers away from that 5K mark. I'd like to hit that in the next couple months. So I'd really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, without further ado, I'm not going to waste y'all's time with an intro. Let's hop right into it. Let's start off with Alonzo Mourning, who's a pretty mediocre power forward option. He's not elite, but he's not bad. In all honesty, I'll probably wind up being one of the worst players in B tier, I would say, but for now, we'll put him in that B tier nonetheless. 6'10", so he's got solid height. 7'6" wingspan is phenomenal. Hot spots from 3 out of 5 spots. 29 hops, including a lot of interior badges, catch, corner, quick first step, and a ton of defensive badges as well. Statistically, on paper, he's really, really good. Jumper's a little odd. Jump shot 34 is the same base as Paul Millsap. It is on very quick, but it's a little weird. It's kind of hard to time. I don't love the jumper. His movement is not great. I will say that's not a crucial thing for a power forward. If they have good movement, that's a plus, but without the good movement, that's okay. I will say on paper, he's an elite card. He just doesn't play that well in game, so for me, I'm still going to put him in the B tier. I think he's a really solid option, but for me, not quite A tier. Whereas Andrei Kirilenko, even at only 6'9", I do think is A tier because of how elite of an all-around card he is. He gives you some of the best playmaking out of any of the cards on this list. Also has good size, 30 hops, include a bunch of shooting badges, and a ton of playmaking and defensive badges. Elite all-around defender, has amazing defensive animations as now, well, 94 speed and excel, as well as 94 shot 3 and 94 speed with ball. 98 is his jumper on quick. Very, very good jumper. Shifty dribble style as well with the pro size up, KD size. I'm sorry, the pro signature size up, KD escape, and then the pippin behind the back. So he does have very, very solid stakes, especially for a power forward. He moves really well, especially with the playmaking badges that he has. Really, really good, versatile power forward, and I do think he's an A tier guy for me. Is AD C, or I don't know. I feel like putting him in D might be a little bit disrespectful, but this card, he has a couple of relatively significant flaws at this point. He's been out for a while, which is honestly why he's kind of mediocre. He is 6'10" with a 7'2", which means he's got decent size. Hot spots from a good amount of spots. Only 15 hops, so is not a lot, and a lot of the hops he has aren't crucial. I mean, fast switch is good, catch, corner, quick first step are solid, and most of his defensive badges are pretty good as well. He's a really solid interior defender, good rebounder. Not the fastest, not the slowest either, but not the fastest card. Needs a lot of badges added, like let's take off a couple shooting badges, unpluckable, and then some defensive badges as well. And the jumper on normal is really the biggest issue. Slasher dribble style also doesn't give him good playmaking ability. Like I said, at the power forward position, not as crucial, but it would be nice if it was better. And the jumper on normal definitely hurts the card. He's not a horrendous card, but at this point, he's just a bit outdated. And so for me, I'm going C tier. Bill Laimbeer, I'm putting in D tier, and y'all are going to be like, oh, why is this card D tier? He's probably pretty solid, at least when you look at the stats. He's 6'11" with a 7'3" wingspan. He's got hops from basically everywhere. 29 hops, well-rounded hops, good defender, not the slowest, good shooter. But here's the problem. This release is atrocious. Bill Laimbeer release on very quick. I don't care that it's on very quick. This is one of my least favorite releases in the game. This release is awful. Super hard to time. Looks really weird. Really funky. It's not super fast, even on very quick. It's just a really, really hideous jumper. And when you have an awful jumper, and Laimbeer truly has an awful jumper, that completely kills a card. I don't care how good he is on paper. With this jumper, he ain't playing. Put him in the D tier. Blake Griffin, I think, is going S tier. I'm a huge fan of Blake in my team. I think he's the third best power forward in the game. Really, really good card. 6'10" with a 6'11" wingspan, hots from 4 out of 5 spots. 27 hots include a ton of finishing badges, catch, corner, sniper, quick first step, and some really good interior defensive badges, as well as clamps and interceptor. Really good all-around defender, great rebounder, super fast, good shooter, good dunker. Blake release on very quick is a very, very good release as well. Super fast, tough to contest, really easy to green. Shifty dribble style, Kobe size, and pippin behind the back give him pretty good sigs as well, which is an added bonus to the card. Overall, really, really good power forward card. Definitely S tier for me. Bob. Another tough one. I'm going S tier as well with Bob. I think you could make an argument he's A tier, but for me, I still think he's top 5 in the game and does deserve to be an S tier guy. 6'9" with hot spots from everywhere. 27 hops include really good finishing badges as well as shooting badges, bullet passer, quick first step, and a ton of defensive badges. All around elite defender and rebounder. Especially at only 6'9", it does help with that his rebounding is really good. He's solid, pretty fast, and only an 86 shot 3. But here's the thing: he has one of the best jumpers in the game. Set shot 25 on very quick. It's a very hard to contest jumper. It's very fast, super easy to green, especially once you get the timing down as well. And quick dribble style, despite the fact that the rest of his sigs aren't great, is also nice to have. Gives him a little bit of playmaking ability, which is an added bonus for the card. The release is elite, the defense is elite, the stats and badges are elite. He's an S tier guy to me. Bol Bol. I know this card was really good for a while. He's a great budget option. If you get one with a bunch of extra hops, he's still probably pretty usable. And he is 7'2", which is amazing. Super long wingspan. He's got 8 Hall of Fame badges, and a lot of them aren't very good. Acrobat, Slithery, Unstrippable, Set Shooter are not good Hall of Fame badges. The other 4 are solid, but that is just not enough Hall of Fame badges. Also needs a lot of badges, and being a diamond only has like 4 or 5 badge slots. So he needs Limitless, Takeoff, Posterizer, Blinders, Chef, Deadeye. That's 5 right there. Then if you want any playmaking badges, those are extras, but also ankle braces, ball stripper, rim protector, post lockdown, pick dodger. That's like 10 badges that he needs added and can only get 5. Doesn't get clamps either at all. Little bit, I mean, he's not slow, especially with his size, but the Lopez release on normal is not amazing at this point. I still think it's one of the better releases on normal in the game, but the lack of completeness with his badges is really a killer for this card, as well as the fact that the jumper is on normal. When we get a new Bol Bol, he'll likely be one of, if not the best power forwards in the game, because we're likely to get a Dark Matter Bol Bol. It's just going to be an absolute god all the way around, but this diamond, unfortunately, is definitely past his prime, and he's a C tier type of guy. Chris Bosh, I do think is A tier, not quite S tier. I know some people love Chris Bosh. I am not one of them. I don't think he's bad though. 6'11" with a 7'3" wingspan is good size. Hot spots from everywhere. 29 hops include all around really good hops, quick first step, a bunch of shooting badges, a bunch of defensive badges, and good finishing badges as well. 90 speed and excel, solid defender, good dunker, great shooter, and a really solid rebounder. Also has jump shot 70 on very quick, which is a solid release. Maybe not my favorite release on this list, but it's definitely gets the job done. Fundamental dribble style and Kobe size up. He's not going to be a great playmaker, but that's okay. Yeah, really solid card. I just don't think he's as good as the guys that I'm putting in S tier. So for me, another A tier guy goes onto the list. Chris Webber is probably our third C tier guy of the video. A solid but not elite card. He doesn't have elite size at only 6'9". 21 hops is good. He's got some pretty solid all-around Hall of Fame badges, but no Hall of Fame quick first step, no Hoff Limitless or Sniper. So those would be nice badges to add. He needs badges added to him as well, like a Limitless, Chef, and Deadeye, as well as a Ball Stripper, Ankle Braces, Pick Dodger, Limitless Takeoff, Posterize. That's like 8, and then Mouse and House is a 9. So you'd like to have all those badges on him. He can't get them all. Not an elite defender either. Does hurt the card. Offensively, he's solid. Jump shot 22 on release, 69 on quick. This is the exact same release as Thorough Bailey. It's solid. It's not elite though, especially only on quick timing, and movement is also not elite. He's an average, a pretty average card, and I think he does deserve to be in the C tier. I'm putting Danny Ferry in B tier, and y'all know how high I am on Danny Ferry. One of the few cards with only 12 Hall of Fame badges or less in the game that I still think you can run at a pretty darn high level. 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. He's solidly fast, really great shooter, good dunker, and all around pretty good defender. Posterizer, catch corner, Deadeye, Limitless, and Sniper, as well as quick first step, clamps, interceptor, and intimidator. Give him good Hall of Fame badges out of the 12 that he has. Most of them are really nice Hall of Fame badges to have. Does need a few badges like Ball Stripper and Hustler, Limitless Takeoff as well, but he's pretty complete. Jump shot 98 on quick, like I said with AK, really good release. I'm a big fan of this release, and quick dribble style gives him a bit of playmaking ability as well. And he's got good size, a 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. So overall, I think he's a really good budget option at the power forward still, and I do think he does slot in at the B tier. Danny Manning, I'm going to put C tier alongside Chris Webber. They both came out at similar times and are similar cards. Danny is a decent card. He's missing some hot spots. He's got pretty good size. Not an incredible defender, but a decent all-around one. Some good defensive badges. Quick first step, catch, and corner are good. He's not an elite shooter though. His jumper also not elite. Jump shot 4 with Amari upper on quick is not amazing. Fundamental dribble style, Kobe size up doesn't give him great playmaking ability either. He's just not elite. He needs a lot of shooting and defensive badges added to him as well. He's okay. Another solid-ish card, but not an elite option, and that's why he's going in the C tier. D-Rob is going A tier for me. I'm a huge fan of David Robinson in my team. I think you could even make an outside argument that he's an S tier guy. For me personally, I'm not going to put him in the S tier, but I think you could definitely make the argument that he does deserve to be there. And I will say there is a chance that at some point I do move him up. But for now, I don't think he's going to get into the S tier. Not quite anyway. It's not 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan. Hot spots from both corners. 20 hops include catch, corner, sniper, quick first step, and then mainly defensive badges. He's an elite all-around defender, even on the perimeter, but obviously incredible on the interior. Has elite size. Really fast. One of my favorite jumpers in the game as well. On quick, it is so smooth and so easy to green. I will honestly say I almost never miss with David Robinson. If you ask some of the other dudes in the Xbox comp community, I for whatever reason, I just shoot so amazingly with D-Rob. He doesn't have good movement, but I don't think that's crucial. He has elite size, elite defense, and an absolute knockdown jumper. Those things are amazing, and that puts him in the A tier, despite having been out for a while. Dino Raja is also going to go in the A tier. A really solid all-around card. He's got an incredible wingspan, which is super nice. Good height as well. No three-point hotspots and a ton of finishing badges. The rest of his badges are okay. Quick first step and some good defensive ones. He's a solid defender and rebounder, but his size and his length is really valuable. Really fast as well. Needs shooting badges added. I would definitely add. Deadeye, Limitless, Blinders, and potentially Chef. And then I would also add the Ball Stripper, Ankle Braces, Pick Dodger. You're going to have to pick and choose 1 or 2 badges from not to get. But Jump Shot 4 on Very Quick is a lot better than Jump Shot 4 on Quick with Danny Ferry's release, and it's got a nice upper as well. It's really easy to green. Not a great playmaker, but he's got incredible size, really solid defender, elite slasher, and has that wingspan is really key, and also a really good jumper. So for me, he's an A-tier guy. Dirk, I think, is S tier. While Dirk is a very rare card, not a lot of guys have Dirk, with him being the 4,000 card collector level reward. Obviously, he's incredible. He's 65 hops. He's an invincible card. He's 7'1" as well. Basically, Hall of Fame everything, at least anything crucial on a power forward. Stats are also, they speak for himself. Invincible, 96 and up on every single stat. Dirk Nowitzki release on Very Quick is actually a lot better than I anticipated there to be this year as well. It's really easy to green, really smooth, not the fastest jumper in the world. And his playmaking isn't incredible, but I will say with all the Hall of Fame playmaking badges he has, and his speed, he does move better than the majority of power forwards still. And overall, I think just with his stats and badges being so incredible and so complete, he's pretty definitively an S tier guy for me. Chris Mullin is going to also go into the D tier. A guy, sorry, not Chris Mullin, Dolph Schayes. Why did I say Chris Mullin? I don't understand why I associated that with Chris Mullin. But Dolph Schayes is only 6'8", so he's one of the smaller guys on this list. That's an issue. Badge-wise, decent defensive badges, no Hoff quick first step, solid shooting badges as well, but he's not crazy fast. He's a good defender, not over the top amazing, but undersized. Jump shot 30 out of the quick is solid, but not amazing. Shifty dribble style is good, but without elite playmaking badges, he's not going to have the playmaking ability to be an elite playmaker on the offensive end of the court. The lack of size, it really hurts the card, in all honesty. He doesn't have a big player build either. I don't feel like he plays elite defense at this point in the year. Not a horrendous card, but for me, he's just not really it for me. So he's a C tier guy. The reason I'm putting Draymond in B, despite the fact that I either put him in S or A yesterday in the small forward position, I don't even remember which one I put him in, is that he's only 6'7". That's a massive issue. Has great shooting, playmaking, and especially defensive badges. Defensive stats and rebounding are also incredible. 6'7" is a bit too small though. Jumper is fine. Quick dribble style is good. Pipping behind the back is nice to have. The lack of size really hurts you, especially when you're going up against 7-footers like a D-Rob, like a Dino, like a Dirk, like a Shaq, who we'll get to in a little bit. He just doesn't have the elite size to be an elite rebounder or interior guy and match up well against those guys, and that's a pretty big flaw. So for me, he's a B tier type of guy. Dwight is a really good card on paper, but I will say the release holds this card back a bit, and that's why I'm putting him in the B tier. He is 6'11" with a 7'4" wingspan. He's got 96 speed and really elite defense and dunking ability. A little bit low on the three-pointer, but if you add a shoe and a coach, as well as the shooting badges that he requires, like Limitless, Blinders, Chef, Deadeye, and Sniper, he's going to be a pretty knockdown shooter. Really the biggest complaint with this card is definitely the release. Dwight Howard release, even on quick, it's just not great. It's a little bit on the slower side compared to most of the other cards on this list. And that really does hold the card back. If he had a better release, I think he'd be a top power forward in the game. But because he doesn't, I just can't put him any higher than B tier. Hakeem Olajuwon, I am going to fold to peer pressure, and I'm going to put him in B tier despite the fact that I don't like this card. I know a lot of people love Hakeem still and are really excited for his dark matter, and he does have incredible size. Pretty good all-around Hoff, especially the finishing and the defense. His size is really one of his biggest attributes. Elite all-around defender and rebounder. Solid speed, solid shooter. Similarly to Dwight, though, the release holds the card back. He's not a great playmaker. Those are relatively decent flaws. I think he's honestly similar to Dwight in a lot of ways. Stats and badges may not be quite as complete, but he's a little bit of a better shooter. And overall, a really solid card, so still a B tier type of guy. This might be the surprise of the list. I'm putting Jack Sikma in S tier. I really do believe Jack Sikma is a top 5 power forward in the game. I think he's number 5, but I still think he's up there, which for a card that's 20,000 MT is kind of nuts. He's got really good size, hotspots from basically everywhere. 22 hoffs, include a lot of good finishing, shooting badges, as well as quick first step and really great playmaking. Defensive badges. Elite all-around defender, especially on the interior. Really solidly speed, and with the shooting and the dunking. He's got jump shot 22 on very quick, which like y'all probably know at this point. Guys like Chris Mullin, Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, guys like that also have this release. And when it's on very quick with a good upper, I'm a massive fan of the release. Fast, easy to green. Overall, really good. Playmaking isn't great. Like I've said a few times, not a crucial thing. He is an absolutely incredible card, so complete for a budget card as well. A guy who really should be on any team in the game if you don't have the MT to get the top couple of guys. Really, really incredible value card, and just one of the best power forwards in the game, period. James Worthy is going to go in the B tier. Another pretty solid card. I wouldn't say he's OD amazing, but he definitely does get the job done. 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, so he's got solid size, ton of finishing badges and good defensive badges, quick first step, catch, and corner as well. 90 plus on every defensive stat is nice. He's a pretty good speed guy. 95 driving dunk. He can use badges like handles for days, blinders, chef, and limitless spot up added to him, as well as ankle braces, ball stripper, and hustler. But he does have the badge slots for that being a dark matter, and he does have jump shot 22, even with the weird base that is that release 69, same release as Chris Webber and Thurl Bailey. With it being on very quick, it's definitely a better release, and quick dribble style style with the Kobe size as well. Gives him decent movement. Overall, I think he's a tiny bit undersized, but I do think he holds it down at a pretty high level, and I'm going to put him in the B tier. Jermaine O'Neal might be the best power forward on this list in terms of playmaking. That's not like a small forward playing power forward, or one of those guys who probably is more of a small forward. And Jermaine O'Neal, he's so good at the power forward position. 6'11" with 7'3" wingspan. Hot spots for both corners. 21 hops include finishing, playmaking, and defensive badges, as well as set shooter. Only one Hall of Fame shooting badge and needs gold badges like blinders, chef, and limitless spot up added, as well as glue hands and ball stripper. But what this card has going for him is really those playmaking badges first and foremost, and also the fact he's got really good 6 quick dribble style, Kobe size up, Pro 2 between the legs, and Pro 3 behind the back. 94 is his release on very quick, which is the same base as guys like Colin Sexton and Bingo Smith, which actually a pretty good release if you use those cards at all this year. Overall, I really do think that Jermaine O'Neal is one of the best budget power forwards in the game. I'd still take Sikma over him just slightly, but Jermaine is definitely up there toward the top of A tier, and a really, really good card all the way around. Josh Smith, unfortunately, just the lack of completeness with his badges and his slight lack of size hurts him a bit. He's only 6'9", so he's not small, but he's not huge either. Has 15 hops, and there's some pretty good ones. Good finishing badges, catch corner, quick for step, and good defensive badges. Good defensive stats. He's nice and fast. He's a good shooter, great dunker. Here's the problem. Brook Lopez release on quick is kind of questionable. Still, the number of Hall of Fame badges hurts a bit because there's some more that you'd like to see on him. And quick dribble style is good, but the slight lack of size, the not elite release, the fact that he's missing some badges, things like that, just not the most complete card because he's only a pink diamond. He's going in the C tier. He's going top of C tier. Still a very solid budget option, but definitely not holding the candle to the top budget guys like Jack and Jermaine. So for me, he's a C tier type of guy. Karl Malone. Is it disrespectful to put Karl Malone in B tier? I think it might be. So I think I'm going to put him in the A tier because he is still a pretty solid card. This card was really, really good when he first came out. He was the best power forward in my team. He's only 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's got a pretty good wide player build, which is nice. Hot spots from almost everywhere. 22 hops include mainly finishing and defensive badges, as well as catch corner and quick first step. Nice and fast. Elite defender, elite rebounder, elite dunker. Really good shooter. Karl Malone release on quick is also very good. Hard to contest as well, especially for a release on quick, which is nice. Quick dribble style, Kobe size up is good to have. This card also, one other thing about him that's kind of weird, he basically never misses whites, which is weird. Also Bob and Karl just basically never ever miss whites, which is kind of an odd thing about them. I don't know why that is, but that also helps them out a bit, and I do like this Karl Malone card a pretty solid amount still, and I do think he deserves to be an A tier type of power forward. Kevin Durant. Am I gonna piss people off if I put him in the B tier? Because I just don't know. I don't know. He's either high B or low A. He's either the best card in B tier or the worst card in A tier. He's obviously an S tier small forward, but at power forward, he's got good size. Hops everywhere. 27 hops. Pretty well-rounded hops. He's good interior and block. 95 speed and excel. Not the greatest of rebounders, which hurts a bit, but he's got an elite release. Really good movement for a power forward. I'm gassing it. We're going to put him in A tier. He's definitely an A tier type of guy. Still a very, very solid option in my team. Another guy who's just a little bit on the questionable mark, we'll put him right next to Anthony Davis because that's about where I had him coming in at 250. I had Anthony Davis, Bol Bol, and KG all right there as like debatable guys. I wasn't sure who I wanted to run in my 250k lineup, and KG is a really solid card, but he's again a little outdated. Release hurts him a bit. Good defender though. Defensive stats are solid. Quick first step, catch, and some good finishing badges. Not the fastest, but not the slowest. Jump shot 58 on quick. It's not great if you use KG's release, especially at this point in the year. You'd really like to see this release on very quick because on quick it's still a tiny bit baited, kind of like releases like Hakeem's and Dwight's. He does have very good defensive ability, but he's not the fastest in the world though. Release not being elite. He's decent, but he's not amazing. So I think he goes C tier for sure. Kevin Love. Is it gassing to put Kevin Love B tier? I don't know. I got to look at the card a little bit more, but I used this card a few days ago, and he was better than I anticipated. 6'10" with a 6'11" wingspan, hot shots from everywhere. 21 hops, include well-rounded Hall of Fame badges. No hop clamps or interceptor or intimidator, which is kind of questionable, and the defensive stats aren't amazing, but he's got good speed, really good shooter, good dunker, knockdown shooter. Kevin Love release on very quick is one of the best releases on this list, and his movement is solid. He's an overall pretty well-rounded, pretty solid card. Can use a couple of defensive badges added to him, but overall comes pretty complete as well. I think he's a B tier guy. He holds his own. Definitely a competitive type of guy. Larry Bird, I'm going to put in the B tier. I'm messing up my lists right now, but Larry Bird is just not quite as good as KD. I don't feel like across the board. I didn't have as quite as high on KD as KD in the small forward position, and same thing at the power forward position. Similar size to KD, a little bit shorter wingspan. Statistically and badge-wise, he is elite, I will say. Really pretty complete all the way around. Not the greatest of rebounders, kind of like KD, and the release is solid just like KD's, but it's not quite as good as KD's in my opinion. Movement also very similar to KD. This card is similar to KD in a lot of ways. I just think KD's release is a little better. He moves a little better for me personally. I just prefer the card a little bit more than I do Larry. So for me personally, Larry goes B, KD goes A. Dunktober Nikola Jokic. And Jokic, back-to-back MVP. Shout out to Jokic. Unfortunately, in 2K, his cards just typically aren't that great. And this is not a bad card. 27 hops, good shooting badges, good playmaking badges, acceptable defensive badges. Defensive stats, though, not great. Set shot 14 on very quick is actually really solid release, which is nice. That does help him out that he's got a good release. Shifty dribble style in the quad behind the back gives him a little bit of playmaking ability as well. But he doesn't quite do enough for me to put him in the A tier. He's not a terrible card, but he's not elite at this point. I think he's yet another B tier guy. We're going with a lot of B tier guys in this video. Patrick Ewing is another one. I don't know if he's quite good enough to be A tier. He does have really good size at 7 foot tall. 24 hops isn't terrible. He's got some pretty good shooting badges, really good defensive badges as well. Does need limitless takeoff, mouse in the house, deadeye, limitless spot up, unpluckable, ankle braces, ball strip, but he does have the badge slots to get all of those, which is nice. 90 speed and excel is good. 85 shot 3, pretty good dunker, solid all around defender, really good rebounder. Jump shot 4 on quick. Like I said with Danny Manning, it's not amazing at this point, but it is decent, especially on a 7-footer. I think he's super solid. I just don't think he gives you what a guy like David Robinson gives you. He's arguably A tier, and I honestly, because of his size, I'm going to move him up, and the fact that he is a really, really good defender, I do think that helps him out, but he is one of the worst cards in A tier. Still a solid enough option, though. Robert Parish. I'm sorry, Robert. I just don't think you're that good of a card. You're a little... I don't think he's undersized per se. He is 7 foot, so that's good. But no 3-point hotspots, only a 70 shot 3, even with shooting badges added. It's not great, you know what I mean? He needs defensive badges added as well. He's just, He's a little slow. Set shot 14 is not terrible, like I said, but on quick, it's not as good as very quick. He doesn't have great playmaking ability. I think he's definitely one of the worst cards on this list. Pretty definitively one of the worst cards on this list for me personally. Not a guy that I would personally consider running at this point. I think he's our second D tier guy of the video. Shaq is pretty definitively S tier. He's the best power forward in the game. The one complaint with Shaq is definitely the release, because when you look at the stats and badges, he's borderline perfect. That's not a surprise. You're going to want to add Chef to him. Otherwise, doesn't need anything. Every defensive badge on Hoff. The release is questionable. Even on very quick, Shaq's release is just never good in 2K, and this year is no different. It's not horrible on very quick, and that does help save the release, and he's so incredible defensively as well as a playmaker at the power forward. All those things, his athleticism, his badges, his stats. He's amazing. But he's just, the release is going to hold him back from being a top-end power forward at the very end of the game. Before now, with him being only the second invincible power forward and the first one that's attainable for most people, I do think he's the best power forward in the game, and I do think he's an S-tier guy. Sharif Abdul-Rahim is either D tier or C tier, not S tier, imagine. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, so he's got acceptable size, only 17 hops. Big problem here is most of the Hall of Fame badges he has, especially the finishing and shooting badges, they're pretty mediocre. He doesn't have elite defensive stats, but not terrible. Acceptable speed, decent shooter. Jump shot 81 on quick is an acceptable but not great release. Movement is very, very meh. I mean, he's really meh across the board. There's nothing he does incredibly, and his badges are not particularly good. A lot of wasted Hall of Fame badges on the card. That's a pretty significant issue for me. I think he's going to be our second D tier of the video. Our third D tier is going to be Shawn Kemp, and the reason for that is similar to Bill Laimbeer in that his release is pretty bad. His release has a hitch to it, which definitely sucks. He is super fast, good shooter, average defender with some decent badges. Badge-wise, all the way around is okay. Another card without maybe the greatest defensive badges. Overall badges, but not horrible. Better than Sharif for sure. But the jumper is just not good. I don't like this jump shot whatsoever. Quick dribble style and Kobe size up is nice, but I do not like the jumper, and he is just a little bit too mediocre on stats and badges to make up for the fact that I'm not a huge fan of the jumper. I do think he's the best card in D tier, but I'm still putting him all the way down in that D tier. Thon Maker might go A tier simply because he's 7 foot tall and has a jumper that I'm a massive fan of. Also, one of the best playmakers on this list, especially as a true power forward. 15 hops, fast twitch posterizer, catch, corner, sniper, great playmaking badges, and pogo stick. Typically, I'd complain that he only has one Hall of Fame defensive badge, but at 7 foot, I feel like he does play better than only one Hoff badge. Defensive stats are pretty average, not great, but he's nice and fast, good shooter, great dunker. Also has a really good release. Jump shot 47 with Kobe upper on quick is a release that I personally am a huge fan of. Shifty dribble style, KD size up pro size up, KD escape, and Pippen behind the back gives him some of the best playmaking ability of any player on the power forward tier list, especially the true power forward. It's kind of like what I was saying with Jermaine O'Neal. He's not as good as a guy like Jermaine, but he does hold it down at a pretty high level and is still an A tier type of guy. Thurl Bailey is just, he's good, but he's not insane. He has really good size. His stats are pretty darn good all the way around. Badges are solid, good defender. His release is kind of meh though. It's that jump shot 22, release 6-9 on quick. Like I said with Weber, it's not amazing, Not terrible. Not elite movement, though, either. That does hurt as well. And the stats and badges are really good, but I just don't feel like he's amazing, and I feel like the release does hold him back just a tiny bit. He's better than guys like Chris Mullin, but I still think without a great release, he's going to go in the B tier for me personally. No, why is it putting Larry? Where did it put Tim Duncan? I don't know where this list just put Tim Duncan. It just dragged Tim Duncan and put him in the C tier. Okay. Honestly, that's probably about where he deserves to go to, so I'm not going to complain about that. He's 6'11" with 7'2" wingspan. He's got acceptable speed, really good defense, great rebounder, great defensive badges, catch and limitless, good finishing badges as well, solid shooter. 10 release on very quick, no movement really, but he's not bad. He's not incredible. He's kind of similar to a guy like Josh Smith, Danny Manning, Bol Bol, KG. Not bad, not incredible. The release, I will say, similar to Dirk's, is not amazing, but on very quick, it is at least passable. But he doesn't give you what Dirk gives you in terms of playmaking, badges, stats. Overall, just incredible. He's not like Dirk. It's hard to compare the two. And with him having a questionable release, but without all the benefits of Dirk, for me, he's still a C tier type of guy. I'm going to go Wes Unseld in, I don't know, bro. Here's the thing about Wes Unseld. He's either A or B. I think he's really good, but he's only 6'7". That is a flaw. I put Draymond Green down in the, I put Draymond in the B tier because he's only 6'7", so it feels like it'd only be right to put Wes there as well. But I feel like this card plays really good. Defensive stats aren't quite as good as Draymond's. Defensive badges, really good, but not quite as good as Draymond's. Half-court for step, catch, corner, and sniper. 93 speed, good finishing badges. On paper, he's not really that much better than Draymond in any area except for the release. Kobe release on very quick is really good. Shifted dribble style. No other great playmaking badges, though. But the player build that he has makes him look 6'9", 6'10". He plays much more competitively on the interior than a guy like Draymond, which is something you'd only realize if you use the card yourself. And because he has an elite pick and pop release as well, and I think that's so valuable to a power forward, I'm still going to put him in the A tiers, but despite only being 6'7". Definitely exception to that rule for me personally. And then finally, we have Mr. Willis Reed, who, again, solid, not great though. 6'9", so doesn't have amazing size. 27 hops, most of them are finishing badges, which isn't exactly what you love to see, but he's got half cook for step and great defensive badges as well. Really good all-around stats. Only a 75 shot 3 though. Can get limitless spot up, sniper, blinder, chef, and deadeye, and I would add all of those to the card if you're going to use them. Animation wise, he's got jump shot 22 on quick. Pretty good upper though. It's the same upper as Chris Mullin. It's just right-handed. Or no, I think it's actually left-handed, just like Chris Mullin. So I think it's the exact same release as Chris Mullin, which is a good release, even on quick. Quick dribble style, Kobe size up. I'm gassing it, put him in C tier. He's a B tier guy. Willis Reed's a pretty good card. He's going to go in the B tier. Not a card that I see people talk about or even use very much at all, but on paper, really, really solid option. So as y'all can see, this is my list right now of the best power forwards in my team. Let me know what you think of the list down in the comment section down below. Who do you think I ranked a tier too high, too low? Is there anybody I left off the list that you think should have been included on the list as well? Feel free to leave me a comment and let me know about all those things down below. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.